Always get a second opinion, y'all. I got a story for you. So story time. It was Cinco de Mayo today, Cinco de Mayo in 2017. And that evening, after I'd gone out to eat Mexican food with my family, I had the worst headache in the world, like the kind where I'm shaking and shivering, and it even sent me to the bathroom and just loosened my bowels and everything. And I was like, wow, this is the worst migraine ever. And it really didn't go away. So I had been married about 1 year, and my husband was like, okay, well, I'm gonna just chop up some aspirin and let you have some aspirin so that we can get it into your system quicker. And the headache did not go away. It subsided a little bit, but it stayed the same. For about 2 weeks, I'd been having headaches, not really noticing that, wow, I'm really having headaches. My husband was like, we'd gone on a vacation, and he said, when you get back, you need to go to the doctor and see about these headaches. But then when on that Cinco de Mayo, when I had that headache, I was like, wow, what is this? And so I laid in the bed the next day, and he had to go take something. He did something where he couldn't be home, right? And I was like, wow. I'm just going to lay here and try to recover. So I canceled my meetings and everything I had to do. I just had to stop doing it because I could not function. I was barely able to eat a banana, laying there. So the next day, same thing. I just could not really move, was not feeling good. The medicine was barely working for me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go to the doctor Monday, right? So I believe this was Saturday by now. And so on Saturday night, right, I noticed that my eyes that I couldn't see. It's like I had double vision all of a sudden. And I said, why do I have double vision? What's making me have double vision right now? And I hadn't gotten really out of the bed a lot. I hadn't been taking any selfies. I hadn't been looking at myself. So I turned the camera to myself and I took a photo of me. And I'm going to show you what that photo looked like. Y'all, my eye was stuck in my head over to the side. Like one eye was over there. And I was like, oh my God. Look, y'all, still didn't go to the doctor. I still didn't go to the doctor. I didn't go to the next day on Sunday. So now this is probably the 7th, 5, 6, 7. It is about the 7th now of May. And I said, I'm going to go to the emergency room. So Michael then was out of town, and our son was in an AAU tournament or something like that, and he had to go to Alabama, Birmingham, I believe it was. And I was like, oh my gosh. So my mom and my daughter were kind of watching over me. I said, y'all need to take me let's go to the emergency room. So I went to the emergency room. When I got to the emergency room, when I walked in there, and you go to the triage and you see the nurses, just something came over me and I said, I've had a stroke. I have had a stroke. I said, and you know what? I didn't have triage after that. They took me to the back because I was like, I've had a stroke. I was like, that's what this is. Went to the back and I immediately had MRIs and CAT scans and things like that, like right away. All kind of blood tests taken. And the doctor came back and he said, hey, we don't see anything. We don't see anything. We're going to give you something for the headache. Then Monday, I want you to go to see an eye doctor, an ophthalmologist, and check on that eye because my eye was still stuck. One eye could see straight, but one was up there in my head, just over to the left, to the left. And he said, so we're going to release you, Miss Porter. So I was putting my shoes on, putting my clothes on, and he came back in soon after that. And he stood in the door. He said, Miss Porter, I sent your scan to a colleague of mine. That colleague sees an aneurysm. And we have ordered an ambulance to take you to Grady. Now, I live in Gwinnett, so I was at Gwinnett County Hospital. It's now Northside, but I believe it was Gwinnett. I don't know what it was called then, but it's Northside now, off of Duluth Highway. That's where I was. So I was like, oh my God. Like when you hear aneurysm, you just automatically think I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to be here. So my mom was calm. She followed the ambulance down to Atlanta. Now, if you've ever ridden in an ambulance, now this is a whole nother story. An ambulance ride is crazy. Do they not have shocks? Here I am with a headache and my eye is already up in my head. I'm already weak. And I am in the worst ride of my life in the back of that ambulance. I mean, it was, it was the worst ride. All kind of jiggling and jangling. It's already 45 minutes away from Gwinnett County. But baby Grady, listen, they got me into the hospital. Let me back up a little bit. So the doctor said to me, he was like, listen, not only we ordered the ambulance, but we've also scheduled surgery for you. You will have surgery like immediately, and you're going to have some choices to make. So when I got to the hospital, the doctors, by that time, I believe Michael was back and my son was in there and all my family. And I had to make a decision whether I was going to get a brain coil or a clamp, one of the two, to stop this brain bleed. And so, oh gosh. Okay, so part two, the main thing that I want to share is that although I'm here today, and this is 9 years later, it's important to get a second opinion and be your own advocate, because I knew something wasn't right, but I was just going to take the word of the doctor and go home. And I had a bleed, but if it had burst and if it had lasted any longer, I wouldn't be here to tell this story. I wouldn't be here to tell this story at all. So, I know you don't always know when to ask for a second opinion, but I say when it's really serious, 9 times out of 10, your gut tells you something's wrong. Believe yourself and go with your gut and say, you know what? I want to talk to somebody else. And I'm not positive when you're in a hospital or under a doctor's care, I don't know if you can just say, hey, I want a second opinion. Bring me another doctor in here. I don't know how that works. If you know how that works, put it in the comments or something like that. But baby, if he had not sent my scan to that other doctor, I already didn't go to the doctor in the first place, I would not be here. Second opinions matter. It's very important that you get a second opinion, okay? So that's my story. And I don't know if you have that story, but if a story like that, but if he had not sent that, it was gonna be over for me, because I was just gonna lay there and that aneurysm was gonna continue to bleed and it was gonna burst. It was bad. It was scary, but I'm here, all because of a second opinion.